Okay, so the recording has started. Right, so before we start, I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. I am Manika Goel. I'm a Velocity Solution Architect and I'm founder of Forceark Consulting. So we do trainings and consulting and advisory into Salesforce and Velocity. So today I'll be taking up the Velocity first session on CPQ, wherein I'll be providing you the overview of the comms business domain and what all things you probably need to kind of understand as basics on the comms. Plus, we'll also go through how Salesforce is organized, sorry, how Velocity is organized rather, and how do we kind of say go about logging in into the Velocity websites and learn through or go through the VPLs, make use of the VPLs which are available, and then I'll introduce to you a case study, which I would want you guys to think about it, come back with a solution on that, and then start building the product catalog or the other lined up items around being having the products, pricing, and promotions, discounts attached to it. Okay. So that's the way that we'll go about it. We'll cover the entire stuff into 6 sessions, as you see on the screen. So starting today, this will go on till 14th of August. So every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we'll have morning 7 to 9 session, and then you'll go back and do some exercises on your own. We'll share the orgs with you. Probably the way that we'll go about is because there are limited licenses available right now, so we'll go about by grouping you guys into a group of say 4 or 5 people and providing you one org so that the data conflict is less and you're able to go through your case study and be able to do the hands-on on this. Okay. So first session today, will be more of an overview around the business domain and introduction to the case study and an introduction to how velocity would look like, and that's what we'll do today, and the basics on the product configuration. Then the next session on Thursday will have the completion of the product configuration and then followed by the pricing. The third session will have the promotions and discounts. Fourth session on the context rules, and then followed by guided selling. And then the last session will be more of a discussion on the best practices and how actually, and I'll like to say that how you have done your case study and are there any issues with that, and basically get your presentations from on the case study perspective. Okay, so that's the way we'll go about it. uh, any questions, anyone, any suggestions, or you're good? Okay, and guys, let's try to keep this a little interactive so that I know, I mean, it's early morning for most of us, so uh, so that nobody sleeps through. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. So, is there anyone in the waiting room? Just okay. I don't see that. Okay. Cool. All right. So to start with, communications and media, right? So how many of you have kind of some exposure to communications and media in your past projects? And have you worked on any of the communication domain projects earlier? Okay, I see 2, 3 hands. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so I think communications and media kind of touches our lives on everyday basis, right? Sorry. Yeah. So communications and media actually touches upon our daily lives, right? So You have your handphones with you, you have a data plan on that, you have a voice plan on that, right? You have internet services at home. And with the pandemic, I mean, few of us have even kind of taken up two internet connections at home. And then you have, from the media perspective, you have your DTH channels, the Tata Sky, Geo Cinema, or ZTV, video call, Airtel services, and these kind of services you all use in day-to-day lives, right? And apart from this, when we use our VoIP services, right? So when you call your friends or family over data, right? So you use Google Duo, or you use WhatsApp calling, right? So these are nothing but day-to-day examples of application of communications and media in our lives, right? So that basically is what we need to understand and relate ourselves to, so that we are kind of say able to relate with how the CRM application would work, and why do we really need a CRM application, what do we do in CRM application. Okay, so that's the essence that we'll carry throughout the sessions, so that you are able to relate it well, and you are able to understand well from the functional perspective, and then you can kind of say go back to the applications and start your configurations. Now, having said that, um, you have to think from a perspective that we have Salesforce as a CRM. Okay, all of us know that Velocity, or Salesforce Industries, which is now the new name for Velocity, it is one of the managed packages which is available on App Exchange, and you can get the license from there. So essentially, Velocity or Salesforce Industry rides on top of Salesforce, right? So it cannot exist without a Salesforce license. Velocity cannot exist without that. Okay, you need bare minimum Sales Cloud license, at least one, and communities license, at least one, for that. Okay, to be able to use Velocity. All right. So because the entire data model, everything resides on top of Salesforce. Now, when I say that Velocity, the way Velocity has been built, it's almost a decade old now. I remember the initial days of Velocity when they only had the basic product configuration, and the basic product configuration, and then there were some issues, but they have really matured over the period of time, and we have an entire suite of application and entire suite of business processes which allows us to perform the the best practices, as per the best practices and as per the telecom standards. Okay, now and now from communications and media perspective, again, I mean, I'll just touch upon a few more instances on that, right? So from CRM and Velocity perspective, can somebody talk about that? What are the things that you would be covering as part of your business process when you incorporate the stuff uh, into this thing, into your Velocity application? Yes, Sachin, you might want to talk about it.
Hi, Akshay this side.
Yeah, Akshay, yeah.
Here we are talking about means why we are choosing velocity, or what's the exact question?
Yeah, so if we have chosen Velocity, what are your expectations around around the CRM process, the business processes that you would be covering in Velocity?
Okay, so like I'm quite new to velocity, But if I am using a third party like managed package or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
then the first expectations will be like the business scenarios, like uh, so it should smoothen our business processes. So so let's suppose order creation or pricing, so all these things should be on configuration level, not on like on development level, like
Yeah,
most of the things. So
yeah.
that's the first requirement, because it will reduce the time, and also it will be more efficient to use, because the process is already set and we are just configuring as per the business requirement.
Correct. Absolutely. You're absolutely right in that, actually. So I'll just elaborate a little more for the rest of the people. So Velocity actually comes with inbuilt business processes which are compliant to telecom standards. And for telecom standards, we have a body called as TM Forum, uh, who actually provides you with a set of business default business processes which most of the organizations follow in the telecom industry, and they're bound to follow, right? So they have an application map, they have which we call as TAM. They have a business process framework which we call as eTerm, and then they have an integration architecture, and so they provide all these things, right? So they have so that's what actually Velocity helps us with. So right from customer management to trouble ticketing, there are level 4 business processes which are available in TM Forum. You can go register on tmforum.org and get a view on that, what kind of processes and stuff are. I'll touch base upon even as we go further in the story. So we'll I'll give a walkthrough on that as well. So there are business processes which are available for each and everything in TM Forum, and with that as a basis, Velocity has actually built up the business processes, uh, and they provide a journey along with a set of the essentials that are required for the development. So I would suggest all of you to actually complete the Omni Studio Trailhead in Salesforce Trailhead, which is an Omni Studio Architect Trailhead. I'll give you the link as well for that. So please complete that, because that is the platform essentials of Velocity. So just like you learn Apex, or you learn the configurations in Salesforce, similar way you need to learn the Velocity essentials, platform essentials, which are the data raptor, integration procedures, omni scripts, calculation procedures, and how you basically correlate all of these things, right? So please go and learn that, finish that Omni Studio Architect exercise and Trailhead if you've not done so far, because that will give you an overview of how you actually uh, relate to the CPQ, and how you actually perform the day-to-day configurations within Velocity. All right. So, uh, so this Velocity CPQ application suite, or the communications and media application suite, basically rides on top of Salesforce plus your Velocity platform essentials, and they come with a set of libraries which define the processes, and which come up with the ready processes around that. So say for example, I have to do a sales process, right? I have to sell my internet offer. So there are 2 or 3 offers which are available with my organization, and I want to uh, build a business flow, or build a sales flow around that. Okay, so for that there would be a new order journey which will be available in Velocity, which you can as part of a process library. So that will come with a set of omni scripts, and a set of data raptors and integration procedures that may be needed to fulfill this omniscript or this guided journey. Okay, so what you can do, how you can go about is you can just download that data pack from Vlocity success website or the documentation part, and then clone that and use to your benefit. You can tweak those and use to your benefit. So that's what Vlocity actually comes with. So they have the pre-built modules and the components which are built on top of Salesforce and Vlocity platform. Okay. I see some more people joining in. Okay. And these are like, as I said, that these are kind of say specified or targeted for different set of business processes which are there on which are actually derived from the TM forum. And in fact, there are 2 or 3 API level VPLs also available, which allow you to do say, for example, there is one for ordering management, which is TMF 622. Then there is one for the product configuration, which is TMF 620. So these are nothing but the standard APIs which are available from which are available from TM Forum, and have Vlocity has created the VPLs around them. Okay. Then using those, as I said, so using these VPLs, you can either use as is, or you can extend, you can add your own set of fields and pick list on that, and then start using it. You can integrate with your set of third-party requirements and applications, and you can get started with that. Okay. Now, why do we need a communications and media application suite? What does it really help with? It helps us accelerate our build time. It helps us understand what are the available processes, and then we can kind of start with that. And it does implement the industry best practices. Okay. So that's what the Vlocity Comms and Media Application Suite is all about. So there are more packages on the different industry suites. So that's why it is known as Salesforce Industries. So you have health, you have a health application suite, then you have an insurance application suite on that. And communications and media are now kind of separated. So media is separate and communications are separate. Essentially, underlying principles are same, but there are different set of VPLs which are available. Okay. So any questions, anyone so far?
So Monica, primarily we will have first the platform level app installed as an app exchange product,
Yeah.
followed by industry specific one, correct?
Correct, absolutely. So this app exchange one comes from the app exchange, and you have to get your licenses enabled by paying it. And these data packs which I'm talking about on the comms and media, these basically come from the Vlocity success website. So you get the partner access, and then you can install those on your own.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, Monica. Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
I
Dan.
was wondering, I was wondering whether you could probably share the Trailhead Omni Studios link for everybody,
Yes.
because everybody can still access that through their normal Salesforce. With regards to the Salesforce industry, the communications managed package, I think we'll have 3 login accesses.
Okay.
So between 20 people, I think 10 people can access one link, and then there'll be 2 other links. So we will share that out after the second session. I think people should catch up with Omni Studios Trailhead. It's how long does it take to complete? Probably about maybe a couple of hours, right?
Yes, it should not take more than 3 hours.
I think you're scaring everybody by saying Trailhead Omni Studios architecture. They're like, oh my goodness me. I think It's just to understand the structure of Omni Studio. So instead of having order cards, we wouldn't necessarily have a data raptor and an Omni script. So not to scare everybody, it's a similar principle workflow. It's just it's named a little bit differently. So no, that's a very good explanation that at the moment Salesforce Industries are actually splitting up those 4 verticals. Communications, CMT and media, I think communications lends more to the telcos, right? And then the media is if people want to buy Zoom or conference call, conference products inside telcos. So a subscription-based model, and then the communications is more the mobile bundle and data bundle. Is this your Trailblazer for Omni Studios?
Yep. Oh, I'll just quickly share that.
It actually has walkthrough videos as well, right?
Sorry?
Omni Studios, I think it has walkthrough videos, right?
Video, I don't think there is any video on there. So these are all the trailheads actually which are there. Let me see if, yep. So you can use this one. Yep. So I've pasted the link for the Trailhead, that trail mix that you can go through for the Omni Studio, and this will give you a fair idea of what the platform actually comes with. So you do have flex cards there, you have the architecture overview in there, then the data rapsters, IPs, and these are some of the additional things which have been recently added on the data tools and all, and the calculation procedures. So you can go over this, and this will give you the fair idea of what you need to kind of say, understand from the platform basics.
Thank you, Monica.
Sure, yep. Okay, so I think I'll move back to my presentation. Right, so again, from the Vlocity applications perspective, right? So as you see that we actually churn a lot of reference data and the available data model that basically Vlocity provides, and then that comes up, you mix it along with the integrations through your, as you see on the left and right here, and then you get the end output of a UI application or an agent console, which actually provides you an experience, or you can call it an e-commerce experience. It's a complete Salesforce sales journey that you can actually build in here. Okay, so so when I say data model extensions, right? So essentially, Vlocity has created their own data model, which actually allows you to create, say, for example, a multi-level product hierarchy, which you cannot do with the normal CPQ, or say normal product config that comes in Salesforce out of the box. Okay, unless you actually buy any CPQ tool like Salesforce CPQ or Aptus CPQ and all. So on similar lines, Vlocity has provided their data model extensions, wherein you can bundle the offers, bundle the products, and create your own offers and your own data extensions. Okay, so that's what Vlocity comes up with. Then there are reference product model available in Vlocity, which comes with the data packs that you install. So there would be some samples around internet or mobile, product models, which you can use and build on top of it, or you can define your own. Okay. And these are all kind of enabled, as I said, or I have been stressing on with the BSS enabled processes. And when I say BSS, it's a business support system, which which caters to the mainly the customer oriented category. And how do you actually do capture the customer, how do you maintain your customer, how do you do the billing for the customer, and then at a high level, how do you integrate or connect to the OSS applications or the network applications. Okay, so that's what it comes up with. Then you mix it up, you use the platform essentials, again a mix of data raptors, omniscripts and all, and use and integrate with the peripheral applications, and then you are good to go with the with the end user UI, which allows you to do a sales journey. So that's what Vlocity application in a nutshell is. Okay. Okay. Right. So from the comms and media domain perspective, right, there are a couple of hands raised. Anyone wants to talk about anything? Has any doubts?
Hello, ma'am. Abhishek.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Abhishek.
I still don't get the difference between Vlocity and Omni Studio. I heard that they both are the same, but still what we do in each of them is different, right?
No. It's the same only, Abhishek, just that Omni Studio is the new name of Vlocity now in from Salesforce perspective after the acquisition and merger has happened. Okay. What I am talking about, I think what you are referring to is more on the platform essentials part. And what I'm talking about is the CMT package. I'll give you a view on how it shows up in in their documentation part, so that it's clear that I'm talking about one of those packages within the Omni Studio.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sure. So again, I'll go back to the comms and media domain. So here, when we look at the comms and media domain, right? So there are different customer segments that we really cater to. And that's what you will hear when you are actually in the, when you are talking to the clients, or when you are actually working through any of the application for the comms, right? So you have B2B, wherein there are service providers who actually provide these services to the businesses. Okay, so for example, if we have Tata Communications, okay, so they are providing their communications services, which will include, say, the voice services, or the voice over data services to another organization, like you can say, for example, TCS or IBM. Okay, so the phones or the business, the internet connectivity services between their offices. So these are some examples of the B2B services. Okay, so you have the WAN connection between these two different offices of TCS, right? So that is nothing but a WAN service enabled by, for example, Tata Communications, and because TCS is one organization and Tatacom is another, so it's a B2B business that they're doing, right? The other segment is B2C, wherein the companies directly talk to the consumers, right? So you, me, everyone is a consumer, wherein we use the voice and data services or the internet services from, for example, again, if I go back to Geo, so we use the services from Geo, or we use the services from Airtel, Vodafone. So we are all the consumer segment people. And in that scenario, the business is B2C. Okay. The third is wholesale, wherein the two organizations talk to each other, and the my customer is a wholesale customer who provides again next set of services to their customers. Okay, so in that case, say the services could be, for example, the product could be a SIP trunking or a VoIP product, right? So and that is the third segment of the customers. Then the SME segment. Okay, so again, these are similar to B2B, but these are small scale companies. So for example, you can have uh, say, for example, a small vendor who is serving who is taking services from the higher uh, service provider and then providing you services in that local area. Okay, so that is an SME. So for example, a franchisee can be considered as an SME. It's not, but it can be taken up as an example of an SME. So that's how these are the different segments. And for each of these segments, our business processes would vary because I would be dealing in different volumes. I would be dealing in a different way. The product is being sold, and I would like to see a different information for these set of customers. Okay, so when I say business processes, a B2B versus a B2C will largely differ in terms of the turnaround time for the sales or the the quoting journey, because you and I as a customer, we are not that patient. We just go and we want our SIMs to be activated ASAP. If you buy an internet plan at max, we can wait for 1 day or 2 day for them to lie down the to lay down the wires to our premises, right? So that's the kind of turnaround time that we look at. So in B2C segment, most of the network elements are pre-configured and pre-enabled. It's mostly the customer acquisition and the last mile activations that are key in the B2C space. In B2B space, these are like long running processes because uh, there are dedicated lines that are laid for your customers, right? So if I go back to my example of Tata Comms versus TCS, right? So I have a new office opening up, say in Worli in Mumbai, or say in Vakar in Pune, right? So in that scenario, Tatacom will have to do a study on how they can lay a WAN connection for this particular new office and what kind of network model would be within that particular building of TCS. Okay. So that is not a 1 day process that can happen. For that, there will be a back and forth between the customer and the service provider to come up with a solution around that and the network architecture around that, agree on that, and then see how the costs are aligned to it. And then finally the quote is kind of say converted and the order is published. Okay. And even after the order is created, it takes some time to actually configure those because those are like dedicated lines built for them, right? So this is where the B2B and B2C differs, and similarly the wholesale and SME segments would differ, right? So given these two scenarios, the business processes that we define in our CRM application for sales, service, anything will be largely different in terms of the steps that you go through, that your opportunity and quote would go through. In B2C, we do not care a lot about opportunity. We just kind of have it for the formality's sake. We just quickly generate, attach a product, attach a plan, and we quickly want to punch the order. In case of B2B, first the opportunity conversion or qualification process is long, and then from opportunity, once the opportunity is running, adding the product, creating the solution, going back forth and agreeing with the customer on the quote, that's another long running process. So that's where our business processes kick in from Vlocity perspective, which we have to build deliberately and thoughtfully in our system. Okay. Now, to help with all of these, we go back to TM Forum. We can study the business processes available there, come back, relate to it, and built so that our solution or our business processes aligned with the industry standards. All right. Then comes the next layer. So all these things you have managed in your CRM and CPQ application. Now what? You need to have the end layer activation done. You have to get your network configurations done. You need to understand whether you have the inventory or not. I cannot sell an iPhone if I don't have it in my inventory, correct? So that's what you do with the inventory management. So you have to integrate with the inventory. You have to see if the product is available or not, and then only you can do the selling. It's a usual thing, right? You go to a shop, you ask for a certain medicine. He can provide you, he'll go and check the inventory if it's available or not, and then only he can give it to you. He can't sell you otherwise, right? So these are some necessary integrations that you need to do for your end-to-end process to be working. And then finally comes the fulfillment and activation. So this basically is the lowest layer in your order journey. So once my quote is converted to an order, the order will actually go through its own life cycle of fulfillment and activation, wherein what we do is, let's take an example again of the broadband connection in your area. Can somebody tell me that how does your broadband get activated? Does it get activated on the day you order the connection, or when does it get activated?
It takes some time, like 1 or 2 days.
Right. So what do they do at the background?
So
They
first they
actually,
will,
yeah,
sorry.
please go ahead.
Yes, please. Okay. First they will create a connection and they will create a modem and everything. They will put the wire. After that, they will start the connection.
Absolutely. So they will lay down the last level of the wire, right? So normally your buildings would have some internet connection available, right? But there would not be a wire drawn from that to your house. So that wire needs to be drawn from that subscriber station on the top of your building to your flat. And then they go back and activate it. Correct. So your profile gets downloaded onto your router, local router, and the subscriber station in your building, and then only your connection is activated. So these are the steps as part of the order management, and these are taken care by the order orchestration engine. So that is also available in Vlocity as part of the order management. But normally,
Ma'am, I have one question. Sorry for interrupt here.
yeah,
So, ma'am, I mean, this will be work like, for example, I'm taking a internet connection. So
yeah,
internet connection taking, I mean, taking off internet connection is a one-time process. Like, for
correct.
example, if you are connecting, I mean, connecting to this Velocity CPQ. So, for example, I have taken a connection. So this is a one-time process.
Yeah.
So after 1 month, for example, I have to pay the bill. So this
Yeah.
will be a part of the, I mean, this will be a recurring process kind of things. Like every month we have to pay. And for example, if you are renewing the order, you no need to pay the bill for the connection cost, right? Is this something kind of?
So good question. So good question. So that is taken care after the activation, right? So after the activation, actually, what happens is you are not just activated in the CRM system, or you are not just activated at the network level. You are also activated in the billing system.
Perfect.
Okay, so your profile is also created in the billing system, and this billing system will take care of. So
Mhm.
your billing system and CRM system always have the similar copies of the product configured. Okay, so if I have an internet product with the monthly charges and with the one-time charges in my CRM application, I will have the same thing configured in my billing system with the monthly charges and the one-time charges. Okay, so
Okay.
for your monthly billing, the billing system will talk to the network application and see if the customer verify the customer usage. and accordingly do a rating on top of it and manage your billing and everything on the monthly basis. So in case, for example, you're using the data and your data is finished, right? So you have taken a 100 GB pack and your 100 GB gets exhausted, right? So your services get suspended, isn't it? How does that happen? That is taken care by the billing system. So on the daily basis, there would be a batch that would be working between the network and the billing system. They would be downloading the usage that you have, and that will be rated in billing system, and it will be mapped against the consumption that you do against your profile in billing system. And once your limit is crossed, it will send a suspend action to the network system so that your connection is suspended. So CRM's role is only to do the sales and service part of it. So if you have an issue with your bill, or your connection has stopped, right? Or say for some reason there is a downtime in your area, your internet is not working. So in that case, you will call up the call center and raise a service request. Now that service request can be managed in Vlocity and Salesforce, but not the billing part.
I get it. So you mean to say, I mean, for example, if I'm taking a connection, that will be, I mean, if everything get completed,
Yeah.
so that connection will be our asset. And after that, if you want to take a plan for monthly or yearly or bi-weekly plans, you can, I mean, you can take like,
Yes.
correct. Okay.
Yes. So those are like add-on, or in terms of telecom industry, we call it as MACD journeys. So your products get converted into assets, and and then you can do a modify and add-on or change on top of these assets.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Right. The last segment that you can cover in Vlocity is the service management. See, monitoring and all is done by the network applications, and say in a sense from billing also, as I just explained. But service management is something that also you can do in Vlocity, wherein you can define your service processes. In case there is an issue with your service for the connectivity, or any dispute with the bills and all, that you can have your service categories created and a service process defined for them in Vlocity, and your service agents can manage those functions from there, right? So this is in brief the comms and media domain. Any questions anyone has? Okay, I take that as a yeah.
Actually, when it comes to communication side, we have two kind of plans. Right? One is a fixed plans. One is for like a we can pay as you like a portion prepay. So we can configure both products.
Sorry, there is a bit of background noise. I can't make out what you're saying. Can you please repeat your question? Hello.
Manika ma'am, Rohit here. So
Yeah.
ma'am, this is working same as the Aptus CPQ, right? How the Aptus
Yeah.
is working. I mean, is this a similar, right? I mean,
Yes, it is similar in sense of the product configurations and stuff, and
and pricing and everything will be, I mean, I guess it will
right,
be, right?
right. But what you don't get in Aptus is the industry flavor, actually.
Okay.
Okay. So anything specific to telecom, you get the pre-built process libraries in Vlocity, and that's what the benefit of Salesforce Industries is.
I get it.
Okay. Fine. So, see, this is what I have done a high level mapping on which module of Vlocity maps to which functional area that I think you can just take care of, or say kind of say you want to you touch upon when you're doing your comms journey, right? So the product catalog management is part of the is managed using the EPC, the Enterprise Product Catalog in Vlocity. The customer information management is part of mostly customer 360-degree views, with which actually you can enable a lot using 360-degree views, right? So you can have your assets view, you can have your order or existing order views, you can have your opportunities, you can have your case views on the customer 360-degree. All of the information being managed within Salesforce and Vlocity, right? Then the sales processes, so you can make use of the rule engine that you get with the CPQ. When I say the rule engine, that will cover that in the coming sessions. So when I say the rules engine, that is basically the compatibility, eligibility, and the context rules which are available as part of CPQ, so that you can show the relevant products to the agent for the selling purpose, right? So CPQ, and then the guided journey as part of your OmniScript and the guided experience around that, right? So that's where your sales processes would map to. The order capture would map to the order object, wherein Vlocity uses. So, I mean, interestingly, Vlocity has built up the data model, though they have kind of say they still stick to the ground in terms of using the standard objects. So they use the standard object for product, which is the product to object. They use order, they use quote, they use opportunity, account. All of these are standard objects that they use, and anything over and above this to enable the complex product modeling and to enable the guided journeys and all, and to enable the rules engine, they have built the separate data model on it. I guess someone raised hand. Quote. Yeah. So quote also, they use the standard object. So CPQ is your quote is part of the journey, right? Your configure price quote journey. So with the set of help of rules, you can arrive at a quote of your choice, or the way that you want to present your quote to the customer. Okay. Then order orchestration is managed, can be managed using the order management section of Vlocity. And then the TM Forum Open APIs, there are VPLs available for your service and order journeys and all, right? So TMF 622, TMF 645. Does Vlocity limit to manage telecom services? No. I'll just go through this. It is actually not just telecom. So there are energy and utils as well. There is health domain as well. And then there are insurance domain as well, which are available in Vlocity. Okay. Yeah, so this is one of the, this is the TM Forum application map. You can get it from their website, but essentially this talks about the different areas on the market: sales, product management, and customer lifecycle management, service, resources, and then the suppliers or partner segment. And then the bottom line would be basically, which is the enterprise layer, which is normally available in any organization. So it's a set of application suites which with which you can do the additional stuff in the industry, right? So so on the product catalog management, we can have Vlocity. On the customer management, with respect to the customer information management, or the customer care management, right? So customer self-management, you can enable that with the help of Salesforce and Vlocity. On the service management, again, you can do it with the help of service service and the case management VPLs within Vlocity and also with Salesforce. Then you can touch upon the resource management by kind of enabling the product categories on the resource side. So that's what you can do with the supplier and partner. You can again incorporate the supplier or partner category products, plus you can enable your partners on communities. Yeah, somebody raised a hand. Okay. Right. So before we go to the Vlocity website, I'll just show a sample flow which is available from Vlocity within with one of their VPLs for the B2B mobile order journey. So if you see here, there are manual steps which are there where you go back and forth with the customer agent while you are actually negotiating or adding the product to the or selecting some product related stuff on your journey, right? So you start with the B2B ordering, mobile ordering from the customer end. Then from Vlocity, you can search and find out which account does it belong to, what is the price book for the product offer that you're going to put through. You create the order, then you can select the plan and all types as the agent can do that. Then based on the rules, you fetch the plans and tariffs which are available for this particular country and plan categories. And then again, I mean, you go and select the plan. Then based on the plan, your handsets, for example, which are the handsets which are available. So you fetch that list and then again show up on the screen, and then the agent would select one of those, and then finally your services are added to the cart, and then you can submit the order or submit the cart. So anything related to the rules, business rules around managing or showing up the relevant plans and relevant tariffs on the screen will be done by Vlocity, and the manual inputs being given by the agents at the same time.
Ma'am, this will be part of the configuration, right? For example,
Yes.
there are some customers, okay,
Yeah.
and for example, they are taking some product. So
Mhm.
based on their requirements, like for example, they want different color like red, blue, black, right? So they
Mhm.
can, I mean, this configuration which will be done by us, right? We are providing them
Yes.
this particular option, like these all are the options will be present, and based on the requirements, you can choose this option, right now.
Yes, yes, definitely. You can do that. And it's up to us that what kind of rules do we want to show. So, for example, uh, you have the discounts, right? So you have your customer categories as gold, silver, platinum. Okay. So based on your customer categories, you will provide a discount, right? So 5% for the gold customer and 10% for the platinum customer. And there is no discount for the silver customer, for example, right? So you can correlate your customer categories to your discounts as part of the rule definitions. And then with that, you can uh, restrict the visibility of your discounts on the cart, on the Vlocity cart.
Okay.
Okay. So you can do those configurations as per your need. So I just took this example so that we understand that what is actually a business process that comes with Vlocity. Okay. So this is like one of those. All right, so let's move to the playground and see how Vlocity looks like. I'll just quickly pause the share for a minute. Yeah. Any questions, anyone? Meanwhile, I just open up my website. Okay. I take that as a no.
Manika, after the Vlocity configuration, most of the telcos still opt for Sales Cloud, right, to do their after sales module to keep in touch with the customer? Or are you finding that most of them are trying to use the Vlocity billing, or they're using a separate billing and Sales Cloud after the Salesforce automation?
So now, as in, see, billing is definitely a mandatory part of it, right? So whether or not you go for a Vlocity incorporated billing or not, any billing system we can integrate with Salesforce and Vlocity, right? So that will anyways go on. And after sales, basically, it's mostly the either any marketing related activities that you do with the customer by sending them newsletters and stuff like that, or promotions and all, or otherwise it is mostly around the service management that you go in for, right? So sales would be more from the add-ons and the promotions perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I think with our two projects that we have, we're using a separate billing system that they already have inside the company. And then we are integrating it with Sales Cloud. We haven't yet got any customers using Marketing Cloud to do after sales activity marketing towards the customer. But in the Philippines and the Hong Kong project, we're actually using Sales Cloud as well at the end. So it's sort of like three pieces of technology still working together to automate the telco CPQ process.
Okay. No, I mean, I need to understand in detail as to what made them actually go through this.
It's okay. What it is most people who the finance team are separate to the actual tech team. So the finance team don't want to be trained up on new technology. So they'll want to use their existing billing system. But that's why we have to put the old billing system, their existing billing system with Vlocity. But that's been an interesting challenge, but it's not impossible to do.
So actually, see, billing system, usually it's the traditional billing system that most of the organizations go for, because before CRM arrives, their business is kind of driven. Billing system is must, right, that they need. CRM is kind of, I would say it's a good to have, it's not must have, right? You can still do with your Excel sheets for doing the CRM part of it, right? So billing, they might want to move over a period of time, but normally all organizations go for their traditional billing systems and we got to integrate with them. So there are historically, there were like in olden times, there was Geneva and Keenan, which we used to use. Nowadays, they're also moving towards cloud-based billing systems. Like, for example, you have partial on-prem, like Metrics is there. So for that, Vlocity has in-house integration suite for that, for which we call as Go Digital and Vlocity. But those are like cost heavy now, right? So it's a tough decision to move from your traditional billing systems to the new billing systems, right? So it depends on the capacity it can bear. It depends on the licenses that are still open and are in pending state right now, and it depends on the kind of usage that the customer is looking for. So unless it becomes completely outdated, or the licenses are exhausting, the customer would not really want to move to a new billing system, because apart from these operational costs, there is a usability parameter also, right? So adopting to the new billing system is again heavy for the company, because you have to train the people in that, and then there has to be an adaptability on that, right?
Yes, that's correct. Getting people to change from what they're used to something new. That's
Right.
digital transformation, right?
Right. Right. Okay. So I'm here on the success website on Vlocity or Salesforce Industries, right? So uh, this is the information center, the knowledge center for Salesforce Industries, where you find all sorts of documentation, the knowledge base where you can connect with the other developers and post your questions, get your queries resolved there. And then these are the set of process libraries which I've been talking about so far, and the Vlocity University, where you get the learning modules for CPQ and all of these different different industry suites, right? So if I go to documentation, right? So right, so it is something similar to, you have the um, help on Salesforce, right? So it is something similar to that, where you get the step-by-step guidance and step-by-step understanding availability on this documentation part, right? So you can say, for example, you go here. So these are the different applications which are available from media and comms, and then you can go through guides and all which are available here step by step, right? So this is the detailed documentation which is there. Then the process library. Okay, so this process library is where you can install your data packs from. Okay, so after I have, so Sachin, to your question, which we asked initially, so after I've installed the App Exchange, from here, this process library, I can install the data packs for the different domains and the different VPLs that are needed, right? So for example, if I go to communications, these are the different areas in which, or the functional areas in which your VPLs are available, right? So if I open up one of those, right? So for a B2B bundle offer, this would be a sample VPL which will be available. And if I say click on this, yeah. So it comes with a set of business process, then it maps to your e-term process. So you can see the mapping here, the categories and subcategories and all. What is the tentative user story for this particular scenario? And then what comes with this process package, right? So in this scenario, there is one Omni script which comes with this particular data pack. So what you do is you go here, install the Vlocity data pack. You provide, you log into your org on which you have your Vlocity license, and you can get your data pack installed there, right? So these are the set of process libraries. So as a best practice, whenever we have any requirement, we actually go back to this process library, see what all VPLs are available, and then accordingly we suggest a solution and go about doing our development. If we don't do so, then kind of we are not making a use of the available assets and available stuff on Vlocity. Okay, so this is how we browse and look through the VPLs and all, and then
So Monica, based on what business use case we are building, we simply pick and choose these Velocity libraries, right, for installing.
correct, that's right.
I
So
have one question.
yeah,
Sorry for interrupting.
no, go
So
ahead.
let's suppose in my business, I have B2B as well as B2C. So now at that time, I need to install both the data packs in the same order, right? So this
You
needs
can.
to be done individually, right?
Yeah. So you can go here and you can install the B2C data packs, and for B2B, you can install from here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
These we buy separately, or like this will come along with the install package, Monica?
So it depends actually. Not all of them are available out of the box. Some of them are separately licensed or based on your partner license, your organization's partner license. It may be available on request. So for some of the VPLs, you may have to raise a case, and then they will allow you to download. They'll check your organization's license, and then they will allow you to install those. Not all of them are available for download upfront.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Then there are two business suites which which have been newly launched by Vlocity in last 1 year or 2 years actually. So mobile subscription management and enterprise sales management. So uh, these are like application suites which are available, which make use of some of these libraries at the backend, and they have built an end-to-end flow for your journeys uh, around different areas, right? So your mobile subscription management will basically into deal into the mobile offers that you can provide for your postpaid and prepaid customers. Uh, and you After installing this, it actually comes with some set of predefined products on mobile, and then it has a guided journey available within the application suite, so which you can start using upfront. However, not all the customer needs are kind of fulfilled in that, so you have to figure out the ways as to how you can tweak and fit it to your needs. Similarly, enterprise sales management is another suite that comes for the enterprise business. Now, this comes with the this is available for the location aware or non-location aware products. In both scenarios, you can use enterprise sales management. So again, this is a set of Lightning Web component with the Omni scripts, and that enables you to do an enterprise sales journey for the B2B businesses. Okay. So these are built over and above these VPLs which are available. Okay. So this is what we actually browse and get the information on from. And yeah, I think the Trailhead structure I already told all of you. We can quickly go to the Vlocity site. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Vlocity training org that I have. So in here, if you see on the top right, so CMT administration, XOM administration, and these are basically tools which allow us to perform the background activities on from the platform perspective. Okay, so when I say that, there are certain settings that you need to enable on the from the platform perspective, so that your CPQ is working. Okay, so for example, if I go here on the Vlocity CMT admin, right, so it comes with the set of maintenance and upgrade jobs and the EPC jobs and all. So these are nothing but a set of batch jobs which Vlocity has provided us. In background, they essentially go and run some of the Apex classes which are part of their managed package, which are required to actually set the configurations. For example, if I go here, maintenance job, right? So once you create your products in EPC, right, and you create a hierarchy out of it, you need to run the product hierarchy maintenance so that your products actually get interrelated. Unless you do this hierarchy maintenance, you might not be able to see your bundle or the offer as the way that you have thought and you have configured in the system, right? So that's why you need to run this batch job. Then clear platform cache is basically to clear the cache and unnecessary data on the system, right? And then with the refresh, you kind of refresh the hierarchy and the attributes data. And also these are kind of maintenance jobs that you run for your application, also for your configurations that you're doing to be working intact. So this will do as we go across the journey, right? So I'll let you know that which are the important ones that we kind of say take care of, and not all of them can I tell you upfront, because those come with the need. I mean, these are basically need basis. So those come with the experience, and when you actually start building the your application, right, in real life. So that's about this. Now, if we go to all apps which are available in Vlocity or Omni Studio, right? So the migration is still on from Vlocity to the new nomenclature of Omni Studio and all. So that's why for certain terms you will see as Vlocity, certain terms you will see as OmniScript, but essentially everything is same. Okay. Now these are the different apps which Vlocity comes with, where you can go and do your configurations and do it. Primarily, we make use of these on the need basis, but as and when we get used to it, we can actually go to those specific objects and make the configurations and may do it as per our needs, or fit it to our needs, right? So for example, if I go to I have the product console open with me. So this is the product console which is there, and here you can do your all sort of product configurations and then view the product hierarchy and go about it. Okay. So, I mean, I'll take a pause here because this is where Vlocity and Salesforce combine and set together, gel together, and we get an overview. Okay. I'll quickly touch upon the product configuration basis. Basics, so that you go back with a thought in your mind on what we are going to do next in the upcoming sessions. And I'll also touch upon the case study that we are going to take up during our course of the training, right? Okay. Anyone has any questions? We can take a 2 minutes stop over here before I jump to the product configuration. Okay, so I take that as a no, and I think I answered this question, right? On process libraries, should we buy separately? Yes. Yes and no. Depends. Okay. Fine. So let's get started with the basics on the product catalog. And I would leave you with a thought today on how and what product catalog would be, so that you can go back, read some stuff, and come back for the next session, all charged up, wherein we'll actually go through the hands-on on all of these areas. Okay. So product actually, it's the core of the CPQ, I would say, and it's the core of any company who wants to do their selling, right? So without a product, you can't do selling. Now it's up to us how we define the product and what are the different type of products that you may actually need in from the comms industry perspective. Okay. So we have the product to object, which is the standard Salesforce object, which Vlocity uses. And then we define the two separate categories of this product object, right? So you have a commercial product and you have a technical product, okay? Commercial product is the customer facing product, which you actually, on top of which you build your offers and plans, and you use that for your sales journey. The technical product is the network or the service provider facing product, okay? So this technical product we actually use to enable the commercial product on your network. Is that understood? I mean, I think I gave a very fair, simple statement there.
Ma'am, can you come again for the technical one, please?
Yeah, so the technical product is required to enable your commercial product on the network. It's a replica of a commercial product with added set of parameters, which actually go down to your network layer and enable your application or enable your product on the network. Okay.
It's kind of top up, right? Means let's suppose I'm buying a Wi-Fi connection, then we are adding one technical product as well, just to activate that Wi-Fi connection, right?
So you don't add the technical product, it has to be configured at the background and it gets added automatically. That's what we configure in the Vlocity.
Okay.
Okay.
So Monica, if we take an example, are we saying, let's say broadband connection, right? Let's say 100 Mbps, that's a commercial product, let's assume, right? When we say technical, are we talking about technical as the network element which has to be configured, or is it something that, or is it something which will get drilled down to say, okay, 100 Mbps will relate to, XYZ parameters at the back end, which will get pushed to your network element to enable the service.
Correct. So we'll have, yes, we'll have to do a mapping on how it gets drilled down to be able to enable your network element. So literally, I think it would show up as a broadband versus broadband only in your technical product definition also, but it will have the set of parameters that are needed to enable your application, enable your network, underlying network.
Okay, so for every commercial product, there will be one technical product mapped, is it?
At least one, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then there are different object types or object definitions which are available in Vlocity, which we need to configure for these products, right? So as you see here, there is within for commercial, you have the base offer spec type and you have a base product spec type, right? So offer is something which you build on, I mean, it's a product category that you define, right? So if you go for, say, for example, a broadband offer now, right? So broadband offer will have um, different product specs within that, right? So there is a product of, say, data, and you may also want to attach a voice over IP product on that as well, right? So these are my two product specs which are there. But the combination of these, right? So for example, you have a 100 GB data pack, plus you have a say 100 minutes voice over VoIP. I'm just taking a raw example. So you have a 100 minutes VoIP plan on that, or say plan on that. So that is my one offer. The other for which I'm offering a price of, say, 100 rupees, right? But then there is another offer where I say 50 GB data and 100 minutes of the calling plan. So that is another offer which I'm selling at a price of 50 rupees. Okay. So in this scenario, my product specs are same, but my offers are different. I've created 2 offers for the same product spec, and the way that I'm varying these are basically based on my attributes and all. So that is how it is up to me how I define on this. I can define one product spec with 100 GB download speed, and the other product spec with the 50 GB download speed. Okay, but that's not an efficient product model that I create. I should use attributes to differentiate between these two different variations of the product spec, right? But I can create a different offers on top of this. So that is how my modeling would work within the product space. Yeah, DVP, you have a question?
Monica, this is Aldrin. How are we going to configure the product with, let's say, promotion?
Right.
Let's say 1 GB, which includes a mobile or a router or something.
Right. So promotions and all are different different categories that we actually define in Vlocity. So I'll just probably go here. Right. So if you see here, right, so within product management, you have different variations available. So you have the product where you define what I'm right now talking was all about the product part only. Promotions and discounts are separate. So you can define a promotion with say, which is say valid for 30 days from now, right? So wherein you want to provide an offer um, of 80 rupees on this particular case for the same combination of the products. So that you can do using the promotions, and if you want to apply a separate discount on top of it, you can use the discounts. What I was talking about was only the product. Okay. So let's look at one example here of the product spec, the offer spec and the product spec here, right? So on your offer spec, if I have to give a bundle offer here, right? So you get the smart iPhone and a watch, it is a bundle. And then your product specs are basically iPhone, watch, and number, which you attach to your phone. And there would be a simple plan which you may want to attach to this, a calling plan on that, right? So all these blue ones here are the commercial products which are there, and um, and the type of the product is offer for this one, and for this one it is the product spec. Okay. Once we get into these configurations, you will understand further as to how you configure it. Now, say for example, the color, capacity, or brand, and all of these are basically the attributes that you define on top of these products. Okay, and there would be some attributes which you do the design time, and some attributes which you do the runtime. So these are some keywords that I'm using. Just keep it at your back of the mind, and we'll go through these as and when we progress through the sessions, when I show you how the configurations work in the system.
So those PAR will be applicable on the cart page, right? Product attribute.
Yeah. Correct. So the run times will be available on the cart, and the design times are basically the ones that you design upfront when you're doing the product modeling. Okay. So there is it basically is the need basis, right? So color is something I would want the customer to let us know that what color iPhone does he want, or what color watch does he want, right? So this is not something that I can do it in the design time as a product modeler. This is something that I would want the input from the customer, isn't it? So that's why I segregate as a design time and a runtime here, right? So we'll touch upon the technical products in the next session, not this session. I would confuse you a lot in that. So that's why I kept it limited here. Okay. As a whole, if you see this product console, right? So it's almost like everything that you can do here and most of the things you can perform here. Okay. So when I say that everything and most of the things is because it's need basis. If there is something that you may want to tailor or modify, you can actually always switch to Salesforce and do the changes from that. Ultimately, everything is a record in Salesforce. Okay. So as a foundation for the product configurations, right? So you have to do the attributes and pick list that you can configure as the foundation. And then you use the layout management to basically define the basics that what you want to see for the configuration. And then you configure your product. So you define the object type, you define the pick list values, you define the attributes that you can attach to the product and the object type. So, and then on top of that, you define the product. So create a pick list, create an attribute, attach it to the object, and then create a product out of that. That is what we do in the EPC. The other elements, I think Aldrin pointed out to the promotions one, right? So all these are basically part of your CPQ journey, wherein you do the promotions, discounts, pricing, you put the rules to make it more business oriented and make it more sensible for the sales process, all your products and all your journey, right? So that is what you do as part of your CPQ journey. Okay.
Malika, so I
Yeah.
have a question. Like, for example, I mean, for Velocity CPQ, there should be some rules. Like, for example, if I'm adding product A, and after adding product A, the B product should have to add automatically. Like,
Correct.
there should be kind of constant tool kind of thing should be there. I mean,
Correct.
on this
Correct. So that you define with the product relationship.
Okay,
So,
okay.
okay, so there are different product relationships which are available, like auto add or recommends. So in case of auto add, it will automatically add, as you said, I added product A, the product B gets automatically added on it. But on a recommends thing, it will just show me as a warning on the cart that product A recommends product B to be added. You may or may not add it.
That should be part of the recommendation rule, right? For example, if I'm adding this product and after that,
So
I mean, it
it's
show one.
not a rule. Yeah. I mean, see, rules basically, yeah, you can define to restrict the viewability of the products. However, these are more like relationships that you build on the product.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Right. I think I'll stop here. I'll just, this thing we'll cover in the next session. This is one example. This is also we'll cover in the next session. Yeah, I'll just go through the case study quickly so that you have a thought in your mind. Think about this from the design perspective as to how would you design this particular case study. Okay, so I have a high-tech customer who wants to enable their sales agents with the guided journey for using Vlocity and all. So as a developer or an architect, you are required to model their products in Vlocity. Okay. Now the product structure is, I want to give two offers. One is the laptops with warranty services. The other one is laptop with warranty services and mouse. Okay. In this case, you can have different variations. So for a laptop, you can define it with a RAM, color, model, brand, the screen size, and your prices can vary mostly around these areas, like based on the model or the RAM or the screen size. Okay, for example, you can take those. So these are like one-time price that you may offer to the customer. And if I'm doing a bulk purchase, right? So if I buy like five laptops or buy 10 laptops, then I should be able to apply a discount on it. Okay. Then there's another product, warranty services. So again, it's like 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. And I may want to charge for it. I can charge either one time or I can do a monthly recurring on that. So based on, say, if it is 6 months, I charge like 100 rupees a month for the warranty service. If I give a warranty subscription of 12 months, then I may want to charge only 500 rupees per month, for example. Okay. So let's configure it in that way. Then the laptop charger is additional product, but it should get auto added whenever there is a laptop purchase happening. Okay. So there is no additional charge that I should pay for the laptop charger. And then the mouse. Okay. So mouse will come at a one-time price. So in case of offer one, it is not inbuilt. It is not in the offer, right? So you can define an offer level price as well for both of these scenarios, and you can incorporate the charges in this offer too. However, with the offer one, if I want to buy the mouse separate, there should be a one-time charge of, say, for example, 700 rupees for the mouse. Okay, so let's try to think about this case study, and I would want you guys to go back, take a pen and paper, and think about the product model that you would want to do it. And in that, I would want to know that which elements have you chosen as an attribute and why, what kind of pricing would you apply per product, and in the offer, how is your offer product being built? Okay, so if I add warranty service, or if I add warranty service plus mouse, what is the benefit of me buying offer one versus offer two? Okay, so just think about from this perspective. Don't don't think about velocity right now. Think about how you would want the product structure to be created.
So,
Okay.
Monica, can I try?
You go. This is a homework. So
Okay, fine. And I thought we need to tell you right
no.
now. Okay,
So
fine.
go back, take a pen and paper, and I'll see if I can open up some channel. You can post it there, or we'll just go through it in the next session. Your thoughts? Okay.
Akshay was ready to give a pricing for offer one and offer two.
And that's what I was thinking.
Akshay,
We
you
don't
working
need
for
to
Vodafone right now?
configure it in Velocity yet, right?
No, not now. We can do that. We'll configure the same case study when we actually move ahead. Okay. Okay, just take a thought of it and just think about the design. I don't want only the architects to think. So the developers should also think and come back with their set of thought process and design around this. Okay. So on the chat, I have pasted the attendance sheet. Please fill that up. And as we move to the next sessions, I'll add more columns on that. Okay, if you want to grab a screenshot of this case study, you can do that. I'll hold on here.
Are you going to share the presentation deck, Monica?
I'll see if I can and how I can. Otherwise, there will be a recording which will be available.
Arjuna, you promised not to put it in offer two with the presentation. And then I'm sure Monica, we can find a way to send it. It's because each, I guess each presentation will have maybe 3 sessions on one presentation. So instead of everyone skipping through, reading through, I think they should follow the presentation first. But if we promise to keep it within inside this group and not share it externally, I'm sure that we can do that. But we will be sharing this the screen recording, so hopefully that will help as well.
Yep.
Buy a mouse and get the free presentation.
I have one question, small question. So Salesforce also has its own in-house CPQ, like the steel brick which it acquired. So how is it they've lost its CPQ different from that CPQ?
Yeah, so see, Salesforce CPQ is there, but it doesn't come with the industry flavor, right? So you won't have the set of process libraries around B2B, B2C, or your telco journey or the health journey and all. That's what Vlocity is different in. So Salesforce CPQ also has all sort of product bundling and attributes and all sort of configurations around that. But to build an end-to-end journey, you have to go and do that using Salesforce.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Has everyone filled the...
Monica, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what are the different type of product structures we have in like Vlocity CPQ? Like it's a standard a bundle like that. So what will be the product catalog I will offer?
No, I didn't get that. So basically, you can have any type of product configuration being done on that, right? So bundling, offering, you can do an offer and club of offer on that. You can do a flat structure product. We'll go through the product modeling as to how, what are the basics on the product modeling.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think the question really was around what's inside the product bundles. There will be the normal handsets like your iPhone and then your Android phone, like your Samsung phone. And then within there is pre-populated products like how many minutes, how many data you get. And then you can configure that. You can add more data or add less data. And then on top of that, there is a separate section to add additional projects. And then after your additional products, like if you want to include wireless headset, for example, then you would do the warranty at the end. So all the products that are in the actual Vlocity catalog are things that you'll see out in the industry, things that you'll see on Airtel, things that you'll see on Vodafone. Most of the very similar products you're used to for the B2C section, Hawaii, Samsung, iPhone, all these products are actually inside the Vlocity product bundles.
Okay. Monica, one last question.
Yeah.
Assuming we've already defined all the attributes and the product and everything in the EPC. Let's say I have like 100K records that needs to be put in the Vlocity. Do I need to type them, or are there any tool that we are going to we can leverage to put the data there?
I think Vlocity has recently come up with an Excel upload feature as well on the product side. I'll check and let you know. Okay. Guys, I see only 15 responses so far on the attendance sheet. Can everyone else please fill that quickly so that we can close the call?
Monica, I have screenshot everybody who has participated, but I'm not too sure who NP
Neeraj, Rishikesh here. NP is Neeraj. Neeraj,
Neeraj, okay.
Yeah, I want like whenever you'll be logging through session, just mention your first name, last name. That would be easier, guys.
Rishikesh, sure.
Okay. Fine then. Shall we close the session then, Dao? I think we're good.
Sure, that's perfect. What I'll do is I'll give me 10 minutes and I'll give you a call. And I will be speaking to most of the